thing will come to will be the camera. So you have to hit PowerPoint, like here too. So this one, so this is PowerPoint. This gets you to your source itself. So press L, and then you get your arrows. So this is your themes. So what you can do, and this is what you actually
Welcome.
but the next
Ooh, you okay?
will be the camera.
Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fredericksburg. We're situated on the ancestral homeland of the Rappahannock and the Patawomeck tribes, and where enslaved people were forced to work on the land. We acknowledge that this land holds many histories, great stories, and the blood of a people.
Celtic Music Appreciation Month. That's how I feel about it. And our handbells have worked up two very exciting pieces. One is brand new to us. The prelude this morning will be by Doug Wagner, Irish tune on County Derry, which we know more familiar as Danny Boy. And then our offertory will be Celtic Dance, which is a new piece. And we have a soloist this morning, a flautist with us, Julie Lawver. Good morning, Julie. She will be playing along with the handbells on both pieces, as well as a duet, George Philip Telemann's Sonata in F minor, the Andante, with our resident accompanist, Maddie Minville. Enjoy.
Wow, and thank you. Good morning. I'm Carmela Southers, she, her, your worship associate this morning. If you're joining us as a guest or a first-time visitor, we're glad you're here. You're invited to leave your contact information at the welcome table in the foyer. We look forward to getting to know you. Everyone is invited to fill out a card about a personal, significant joy or concern that you'd like shared during the service. You may pick up and leave your card at the Joys and Concerns table in the foyer. Our pastoral care team member will collect the cards and read them later in the service. Here at the UUFF, we strive to nurture learning, inspire spiritual insights, create compassionate relationships, and lovingly transform our community and the world. Please join us after the service for coffee and conversation. So I invite us now to all greet one another. People online, if you've muted your audio and video, please take a moment now to unmute so that we can greet one another face to face. You can wave to the camera back there for them, to each other. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, John.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You want to wave?
Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Great.
Hi, Ray. Hello, Ray.
Great, great. Thank you. It is so good to have all of you with us today. So I'd like to introduce our guest speaker today. Reverend Shelley is currently serving as full-time interim minister of the Calgary Unitarians in Alberta, Canada. I'm so glad we have nice weather for you. Welcome to Virginia. Her first career was as a mental health therapist for at-risk youth, children, and families. She received her Master's of Divinity from Meadville Lombard Theological School in 2016 and was ordained to the Unitarian Universalist Ministry in October of 2018. She enjoys spending time in nature with her fur baby, a 15-year-old black lab named Onyx. Welcome, Reverend Shelley.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. I'm Reverend Shelley Thompson. My pronouns are she and her, and I am so delighted to worship with all of you in this place that is made holy by your presence. I share with you now the words of Reverend Erica Hewitt. Some of us are bringing our best selves into this space, and some of us are bringing our struggling selves, including pieces we might be ashamed of. All of us are welcome here, and all of us are loved. Some of us already have open hearts, and some of us aren't quite there yet because our hearts have gotten a little beat up this week. We might have forgotten how to trust or open. Your heart is welcome here, no matter how bruised. We welcome you among us. All of us are imperfect, but we're here to drop our defenses and trust that what happens in worship is powerful and life-giving. Together, we affirm that this day and our being together can make each of us braver, more compassionate, and wiser than we were when we woke up this morning. We welcome you here. Let us worship together.
So please join me in reading the chalice lighting words found on the screen. We ignite this flame, symbol of our faith, to beckon us into community, warm our hearts with love, and give us a light to follow as we carry our faith into action.
Raise your hand. How's it feel?
Oh, no. Can't do it.
Huh?
Oh, no, it's good.
For our Wonder Box. So if there are any children or those of you young at heart that would like to come forward for story time, we'd love to have you come visit us up here. Good morning. Thank you. What, honey? Hi, Mark. Okay. Good morning, Margaret. Hello, everyone. Oh, and Reverend Doug is... We'll keep trying. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Shelley. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, that's Margaret. You know Margaret? Are you all friends? Good.
Then one day, I don't know, I moved in a couple weeks ago.
Oh, just a couple weeks ago. Well, welcome. We're very glad you're here. We like to have you with us. Oh, can you see yourself up there? Look at us. There we are. Hi. Hi, everybody on Zoom. We're TV stars, aren't we? Oh, and Roddy's going to help me today with Wonderbox. I love Wonderbox. What do you suppose is in our Wonderbox? Oh, let's find out. What a pretty box this is. Oh my goodness. What do I see? I have pink heart-shaped glasses. Wow. I like these pink heart-shaped glasses. And you know why I like them? They remind me of our first principle. Do you know the first principle? No. Do you remember that one? No. It's everyone is important. Everyone's important. And what that means is we love everyone no matter what. And it turns out that's really hard because sometimes we don't even like people or get along with them very well, but we want to be loving to everyone and treat them with kindness and respect and fairness. It's sort of like if you've ever been in trouble and mommy or daddy or your parents get angry, but they say, even when I'm angry, I love you no matter what, forever and always. Have you ever heard that? You never get in trouble, do you? You never get in trouble, do you? That must be it. Well, sometimes parents will say that no matter what you do, your parents will always love you forever. So we'd like to try to love everybody that way, and it isn't easy. So if we have heart-shaped glasses, it helps us see the world with loving eyes and remember that everyone's important. And so because we can't wear heart-shaped glasses all the time, we want everybody to think about imagining having an invisible, imaginary pair of heart-shaped glasses that you can take with you everywhere. You cannot lose them. And they'll always be with you to help you be kind and respectful and fair. So today you can color. I'm going to give Reverend Doug some coloring sheets, and you can color what your imaginary invisible glasses will look like. And you can put whatever you want on them, butterflies or flowers or sparkles or whatever you want. And then you'll remember that you always have these everywhere you go. And in our story today, Roddy brought us a baby doll. Tell us about this baby doll, Roddy.
So we found a doll in the nursery, and I believe our story today, Reverend Shelley, has something to do with an anti-racist baby.
An anti-racist baby, that's the name of our story. And you know what's really sad is that not everybody knows how to wear their heart-shaped glasses. And so not everyone is treated kindly or fairly or with respect. And sometimes that's just because of the color of their skin. Yes, Margaret?
So a long time ago when I was in here, there was
right.
can't, and the dark skin people had to go to a different school. So
Yeah.
That's right.
like people can't go together.
That's right. There was segregation, that was called.
Martin Luther King fixed it.
He fixed it. Well, he tried to fix it. And you know what's true is that it's still a bit broken sometimes. And unfairness still happens to people with dark skin. And that's called racism. And so we want to be the opposite of that. We want to be people who love everyone and are fair and kind. And so we want to be anti-racist. And so this man who wrote this book, Ibram Kendi, he thought, well, if we just start with the babies and we teach all the babies right from the very beginning how to be kind and loving and how to wear their heart-shaped glasses all the time, then they're going to grow up being kind and loving and respectful and fair. And pretty soon, if we just keep doing that long enough, the whole world might get to be anti-racist, and that would be a really good thing, wouldn't it? So we're going to read our story. You want to hang on to the baby for us? There we go. Baby can hang out with you. I'm going to take off my little glasses. Would you like to try them? You can try them while we do story time. Be careful. They're probably big, but don't poke yourselves. Put them on the baby. There's a good idea. So, our story is called Anti-Racist Baby, and we get to see the pictures. We're going to get to see them way up there on the screen. We hope. In a minute. You want to try them? There they are. So there's Anti-Racist Baby. Here we go. Anti-Racist Baby is taught, not born. Anti-Racist Baby is raised to make society transform. So if we all teach the babies will teach us. We practice together. Babies are taught to be racist or anti-racist. There's no neutrality. Take these 9 steps to make equality a reality. Open your eyes to all skin colors. Anti-Racist Baby learns all the colors. Not because race is true. We got to go back several slides. We're going too fast. One more. Backwards. We'll get it. Oh, we're only going forward. Find that picture with the girl with the binoculars? There she is. Open your eyes to all the skin colors. Anti-Racist Baby learns all the colors, not because race is true. If you claim to be colorblind, you deny what's right in front of you. We want to see people for who they are and love them. Use your words to talk about race. No one will see racism if we only stay silent. If we don't name racism, it won't stop being so violent. Point at, sorry, one more back. They took the words off, I don't know why. This one says, point at policies as the problem, not people. Some people get more while others get less because policies don't always grant equal access. Shout, there's nothing wrong with the people, even though all races are not treated the same. We're all human, Anti-Racist Baby can proclaim. Celebrate our differences, just like we're doing here. Look at this. Anti-Racist Baby doesn't see certain groups as better or worse. Anti-Racist Baby loves a world that's truly diverse. Knock down the stack of cultural blocks. That's the next slide. Anti-Racist Baby appreciates how groups speak, dance, and create as they choose. Anti-Racist Baby welcomes all groups voicing their views. Confess when being racist. Nothing disrupts racism more than when we confess the racist ideas that we sometimes express. We all make mistakes. We learn from them. Grow to be an anti-racist. Anti-Racist Baby is always learning, changing, and growing. Anti-racist baby stays curious about all people and isn't all-knowing. Believe that we shall overcome racism.
Sorry.
Anti-racist baby is filled with the power to transcend, my friend, and doesn't judge a book by its cover, but reads until the end. Thank you for sharing story time with me. Margaret,
What? What?
what are we doing with them?
Better what?
Answer it.
Did you check them out? Did you try them on? You shared. Yeah, we share with one another when we love everybody. Reverend Doug's going to go with you downstairs. You can take the glasses with you. Just bring them back when you're done, okay? I'll take them home with me when you're done with them. You can play with them.
So we get the words on the screen, and if not, we know the words by now.
We're going to sing. You ready? We like to sing. You got within you.
I went up there looking for Doug's replacement.
Reading today is by Douglas Steer. The ancient question, who am I, inevitably leads to a deeper one, whose am I? Because there is not identity outside of relationship. You cannot be a person by yourself. To ask, whose am I, is to extend the question far beyond the little self-absorbed self and wonder, who needs you? Who loves you? To whom are you accountable? To whom do you answer? Whose life is altered by your choices? With whose life, whose lives, is your own all bound up inextricably in obvious or invisible ways?
My beloveds, it is an exciting time to be a Unitarian Universalist. This has been a time filled with soul-trying challenges and, in the words of Martin Luther King, glorious opportunities. We're emerging from the shadows of the pandemic that distanced us from one another and forced us to reimagine the ways that we connect and sustain community. Well before the pandemic, we'd seen the trend of a lot less people going to traditional church in all religions. It's true that modern, busy, overscheduled, tired people with 24/7 technology really don't want to do lots of committee work or spend many hours volunteering. They're tired. And our society just keeps changing on us. And faith communities of every kind are struggling to adapt in some ways. We're certainly not the only ones. And of course, in addition to all of that, our country is fiercely divided in ways that are causing people to rethink the ways we practice the very democracy that's fundamental to our way of life. As Reverend Susan Frederick Gray has said, this is no time for a casual faith. In this 21st century, which I hold out hope will someday be known as an era of restorative transformation, how we choose to define Unitarian Universalism, it matters now more than ever. We need to be able to understand and articulate who we are as Unitarian Universalists in a way that both inspires us and makes us known in the wider world as a people who want to rise to all these challenges by building beloved community, by drawing the circles of justice, equity, and compassion wider and wider still, by becoming a people who welcome everyone in to nourish their spirits and help heal the world, and by being accountable to one another through our covenants to live our values and fulfill our missions together. We have a saving message, no doubt about it. So how we understand ourselves and how we live our lives as Unitarian Universalists, how we choose to share the good news of Unitarian Universalism right now and in the days to come and the years to come, I think it'll be a deciding factor in whether or not many of our faith communities survive and thrive, or maybe disappear or remain very small. We just certified our congregations in February, and nearly 300 of our congregations have 50 people or less. That's 30% of us. We need to share our good news. Well, our 7 principles and our 6 sources that are very familiar to us, they have a big impact on our UU identity and the ways we talk about ourselves and the way we describe our intentional faith communities to other people who've probably never heard of us. And unfortunately, sometimes the ways in which we describe ourselves and then the lived experiences of people who spend time with us don't always match. Our values are not always accurately reflected in our congregational cultures. And a lot of people have experienced barriers to inclusion and belonging in our congregations, which is not at all news to us. We've been talking about this for a long time. These kinds of structural dynamics have made it difficult for Unitarian Universalism to appeal to a wider circle of people who share our values, but not our majority white culture. So there's a culture gap, and it presents a real threat to the radical inclusion and multicultural competence and awareness and solidarity that we need to consistently demonstrate if we want to grow and be in mutual relationships of service and connection with a wider range of people and out there in our communities, which are very diverse. In other words, if we want to be relevant and sustainable in the years to come, these are things we need to work on. So we've been talking about this for a long time, and we are taking action all along the way to address these things. You've probably heard of Widening the Circle of Concern, that Commission on Appraisal report that teaches us how to evaluate our institutions, our paperwork, our bylaws, our documentation, our bathroom lines, all of the things that are present in our environment, looking out to see how inclusive and welcoming and we can make those. It's a good project. And right now, we are moving toward another major shift that I think is actually going to be immensely helpful. I like it. This is where the Article 2 Study Commission comes in. I know Reverend Doug has talked to you about this a little bit. He had a class for you. Yay. Everybody, some people still wondering what we're talking about? A little bit, maybe. Current 7 principles and 6 sources were last written in 1985. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've changed a lot since 1985, and so has Unitarian Universalism. And it's in our bylaws that we need to review these once in a while because, as we know and are proud of saying, revelation is not sealed. We change, we grow, we learn. So the Unitarian Universalist Association Board of Trustees created the Article 2 Study Commission, and they're going to look at Article 2, which is a bylaw called Principles and Purposes. Article 2, Principles and Purposes. Don't let the name fool you. That document is something we frame and put up on the wall. It's the centerpiece of our faith. So in 2020, the board charged this amazing committee of wonderful leaders with revising that, changing it, seeing what we could do to make it a better match for who we are now. And as the study commission notes, again, it's not just any old bylaw. We use it in theological, social, educational, personal, evangelical, and rhetorical conversation. It's often how we describe ourselves. But I love what the board told the commission. This is their charge to the commission. Quote, "It is time for us to do a review and make changes so that we're living into the Unitarian Universalism of the future, the Unitarian Universalism that holds us in times of great need and ethical, moral, and spiritual crises." We're in one of those times right now. The UUA board believes that one core theological value shared widely among UUs is love. The new principles and purposes should guide us in the transformation of ourselves, our communities, our faith into active networks of collective care, restoration, and justice. We therefore charge this commission to root its work in love as a principal guide and to choose love in action as the path forward. Love in action. Already we have a new way to describe ourselves that goes well on a t-shirt or a bumper sticker. UUs are the love in action people. I like it. With that change in mind, the Article 2 Study Commission got to work talking to UUs all over the country. And that group, actually, the commission includes Paula Cole-Jones, who wrote the 8th Principle. So don't worry, they're doing everything they can to absolutely keep all the goodies from the 7 and the 6. They're all in there. So they've had forums and surveys and discussion groups and really worked hard on this. And they've talked with everyone about our values, about our covenants, and about our missions. And they've listened to us talk about our identity and why we come to a UU church. And they have synthesized this into a revised, proposed Article 2. And in January, they presented their report to the board of directors. And it looks like this. It's pretty. And this is available on the uua.org website. You can read it online, or you can print it out so that you can take notes and draw all over it. And Reverend Doug, when he did his workshop, he printed some that are just part of the report that's the old and the new, so you can compare them. So we have those handouts for you to look at. And this is really good. There's the charge to the commission in here, and then the commission tells us all about their process. And I really encourage you all to read it. It's good, good stuff. So we'll have some copies of that for you, and you can get it online. So they gave that report to the board, and now there's going to be more conversations. There's going to be a mini assembly at the UUA General Assembly, our big annual gathering that's happening in Pittsburgh in June. Hopefully some of you will choose to be delegates, either online or in person. And lots of conversations going to happen. So this can still be changed, adapted. It's a living document. It's not finished yet. But we are going to take the very first vote on whether or not to keep studying the document. Yes, let's keep studying it. I hope they vote yes. And then in 2024 General Assembly, that General Assembly is going to be online only. We're going to try that every other year to save money and make it more accessible. So in 2024, hopefully we will have studied it and refined it even more, and we'll be able to vote yes on a new Article 2, I hope. Because if we don't, we have to wait 2 years before we try again. So it's important that we know what's going on, that we all take an interest in this and read about it and talk to your delegates before they go to GA. This study commission listened really well, and these are brilliant people. To start with, they're proposing that we adjust the name, Article 2, Purposes and Covenant. I love it. Purposes and covenant is befitting of our covenantal faith. And instead of lists of principles and lists of sources, this document makes them all into a very eloquent statement, and they give a reformulated purpose. Listen to this. The purpose of the Unitarian Universalist Association is to actively engage its members in the transformation of the world through liberating love. Woo! Yeah. I feel that. Do you feel it when we say it? How does it feel when you say that? It's good stuff. Someone told them we needed more verbs, so there's lots of action verbs. We're engaging and transforming. And notice that when we say liberating love, this isn't just love the concept, this is love the verb. This is love in action, as in, we're going to love the hell out of the world. That's another one of our slogans that I love. In the report, the commission tells us, we articulate our shared values, and then we use those values as the ground for aspirational statements of action, also known as covenants. That's what a covenant can be thought of as, an aspirational statement of action. And the values and covenant section then tells us this. As Unitarian Universalists, we, all of us, skin in the game, right? We, congregation to congregation, through our association, we covenant to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. And then this is my favorite part. It gives me chills. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Whew, I feel that one too. I feel it. Gives me chills. It feels good to be a Unitarian Universalist when I read that statement. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We're accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. With love at the center, they have named 6 more of these shared values, and you've probably seen that flower logo. We had it on the order of service today. That's a work in progress, too. And they named interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity as the 6 that are inseparable from one another, all rooted in love. And then for each of the values, there's a values statement, and then there's a covenant that goes with it, an aspirational statement of action. And when we read them carefully, and I did, I went through there in P1, P2, I labeled all the principal ideas, and I labeled where do I see S1, S2, they're all in there. They are all in there, don't worry. But I love the values and covenant model. The Commission says 7 single-word values, each with a short statement of explication. It's easier to remember and uses the touchstones of our conversations in congregational governance and in educational settings. Again, we're just trying to make sure that it's easier and more accessible for us to tell everybody what Unitarian Universalism is all about. And so we want to notice especially these new proposed values and covenants all use the collective we ownership language. We're talking about us, specifically, personally, Unitarian Universalists. It's active, it's not passive. For example, the value equity. We declare every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. Right? Inherent dignity and worthiness, that's a quote from Martin Luther King. We declare we've got our skin in the game, we're owning it, it's about us, it's our value. We covenant, meaning we're accountable to one another. We promise, we commit to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. We're doing this together. We're putting our love in action. This is fundamentally different than that list of 7 principles. For instance, number 6, we affirm and promote the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. I think that's a lovely concept for armchair philosophers. It's really nice sounding. But what's it got to do with Unitarian Universalism? What are we doing about it? How does it relate to who we are and our mission? We're love in action, remember? We're accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent worth and dignity, and we covenant to use our time, our wisdom, our attention, and our money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. Yeah, that's us. It's very different than those other statements. And I remember Dr. Cornel West, a Ware lecturer at General Assembly in 2015, he said, "Justice is what love looks like in public." It's genius. Justice is what love looks like in public. So we have the value of justice as another example. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. Hearing the 8th principle, we've transformed it. We work to do this. We covenant, we promise, we commit to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression, and we support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions. That's what we're doing about it. It's a lot. It's very important. And the fact that we do it together, we're in covenant with it, and it with us. We're living it. That's how we transform the world with liberating love. We've got specifics. We have a plan. So we can hear Paula Cole-Jones in there. And one of the things I love about it, I've been serving in Canada, and Canada took on the eighth principle. The Canadian Unitarian Council, that's their version of the UUA, took it on, and individual churches took it on. And I've got to tell you, it was painful. It was awful. There were a lot of people who didn't understand what we meant by the eighth principle, and they wanted to argue about, is it a principle or not? Can't argue about this. This is a value and a covenant. That's exactly what it is. And it's about us. And it's who we are. So I'm hoping that that's going to help us when we talk about our commitment to anti-racism, to anti-oppression and multiculturalism, to own it as who we are and the work we are about, and not argue about the words anymore. Theologically, personally, as a statement of faith, those values and those covenants feel different. And they feel more relevant, more personal, more kind and loving, more expansive and inclusive. Love in action. We want people to know who we are, what we do, why we do it, and how it is that we promise to do this work together, right here, right now, every day. The values and the covenant, that's how we actively engage in the transformation of the world through liberating love. So together, collectively, as Unitarian Universalists, we answer Douglas Steele's questions. Who are you? You're a Unitarian Universalist. Whose are you? I'm yours, you're mine. We are all a part of the human community of communities. Who needs you? We all need you. Who loves you? We all love you. To whom are you accountable? We're accountable to each other, to our communities, to our solidarity partners. To whom do you answer? We answer to one another and to our faith. Whose life is altered by your choices? With whose life or whose lives is your own all bound up inextricably in obvious or invisible ways? We are all a part of the interdependent web of existence. We put our love into action for the collective liberation of all people everywhere. Amen. Ashe. May it be so. And now I think we'd have just a couple of minutes. Is that right, Carmela? If anybody would like to comment or say anything about that Article 2 and where you are with that. Do we have a microphone or are we just loud? No, we have a microphone. Oh, good. Thanks.
Well, thank you for your comments, and it's a treat to have them heartfelt, and it helps energize them. I have two concerns, and I'll be brief. One is that I think a lot of our world is looking for peace. And almost everything I heard had to do with energy and dynamics and being out there and so forth. So I'm looking for something in there that's specifically for rest and peace. Mm-hmm. And my other concern is some of the language was about changing the world. And while I'm assuming that's meant to be poetic, not literal, I think it diminishes the strength of the rest, which is more practical and realistic.
That's why we keep talking it. We keep talking it, keep talking it. We'll get there. Good points.
For someone who has not really delved into these particular articles, I want to thank you for making it far more explanatory to someone like me today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? And definitely have these conversations together. Talk at coffee hour, read it, see what you think. Keep talking about it, because the commission wants to hear from you. And we want you to be raising your voices at General Assembly too, because we really do want to get this right.
It is joy and gift to have ability to give and receive. Just give enough and have ability to receive. When a child takes a lollipop and shove it in our mouth, we might not want it. If we want it or not, we have to accept it. This is a beautiful community. Bravery of Don Reed and smile of Ray Polak makes me joyful to be here. Last month was a special month of history. This month is our better half history. In a garden of life, trees with more fruit, they are just humble, bowing and offering their fruit to us. In this garden, there are so many trees. We respect and love all the trees and join their fruit and have a taste for it without thinking that one tree is better than the other one. We would move ahead when we are aware of our depths, where the love comes from. When giver and receivers, they stay in the same level. When receiver receives, the giver enjoys and the love finds birth.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for your commitment to Unitarian Universalism. We are so lucky to have each and every one of you. Love each other.
Thank you, Reverend Shelley. Thank you. During the offertory, you're invited to come forward and silently place a pebble into the bowl of water for any joys or concerns, it's over here, that you're holding in your heart. This is a Share the Plate Sunday, which means that half the cash that's collected in the offering baskets today will go toward Mental Health America Fredericksburg. Mental Health America of Fredericksburg, MHA Fred, is our community's oldest nonprofit 501c3 charitable organization addressing all aspects of mental health and mental illness. MHA Fred exists to improve the lives of people with mental health problems by providing advocacy, education, and services that improve access to quality mental health treatment and services, particularly for vulnerable populations like the uninsured and elderly. If you're online, we encourage you to donate via text message or by visiting our website and using the online donation form on our home page. The text donation number is 844-963-2785. Greeters will also be coming around with a basket for in-person donations. May all that has been shared and freely given here help us grow in generosity and caring for the world of which we are a part. Paula?
Her, and I'm a member of the pastoral care team. Can everyone hear me okay? It's my Broadway debut. As a caring community, we share these personal matters and we want to be held in our hearts. We have no joys or concerns officially this morning, but I see many stones in the bowl and we have them in our hearts. Also, I want to lift up for those that maybe did not catch the announcement. I always about half faint when I see Death of Our Own in our email. And those that did read it did note that our past minister was our first paid past minister, John Barros Johnson. He was our minister from 1991 to 1992, and I just wanted to lift him up in all of our hearts. I could feel the warmth of the sun on my back, so it's working. And let's also take a moment to hold in our hearts everything that was not spoken this morning. I'm going to remember to ring that chime.
So here's the latest update. Okay. Here's the latest update in our pledge campaign. So our goal is 254,000. We're at about 117, 196 now, not quite halfway. And it ends the end of March. So for our closing words, yeah, that's good. That's right. We're getting there. Good.
These are the words of Reverend Marta Valentin. In gatherings, we are stirred like the leaves of the fall season, rustling around sacred trees, tossed hither and yon, until we come to rest together, quietly, softly. We come to gather strength from each other. We come to give strength to each other. We come to ask for strength from the Spirit of all that is and is not. When our hearts sing or when they frown, it is the way of compassion telling us to give. It is the way of peace telling us to share our gifts. For we are happiest and most powerful when love is made apparent in and through us. Spirit of the circle that is love, as we twirl in this dance that is life, we give thanks for reminding us each day of our task of ministering to each other with a searching glance, a safe touch, a generous smile, a thoughtful word. Thank you for reminding us that we are always building the beloved comunidad. Thank you for reminding us that through our covenant with you, we covenant with each other and are made whole. In gratitude, we celebrate with open hearts and minds. We discover who we are, separate from each other and within one another. In this circle that holds all life, may we ever work toward widening its boundaries until there are none. Amen. Pause. Blessed be. Our closing hymn is number 131 in the gray hymnal, Love Will Guide Us. Please rise in body or spirit and join us.
Okay. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Words for extinguishing the chalice. Sound on the screen. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of love and service. May it be a catalyst for spiritual growth and social justice as we carry it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again.